Knowing you're ready for my debut.
Am ready.
For a new beginning in out-of-the-way places of the heart where your thoughts never think to wander. This beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched you, your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety, the great promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled, and out you stepped onto new ground. Your eyes young again with energy and dreams, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The seduction of safety. And so we're going to rest in this dunno mind, said Sansan. Dunno. Mind of the present moment, awareness itself. Letting all objects come and go. We gather our intention and our aspirations for this practice today. This is the right beginning. We invite and invoke that Bodhi heart that wishes for ease, for happiness, for well-being, for peace, for connection, belonging. We remember those for whom we practice. Name someone besides yourself so that you can remember the boundlessness of this awakened heart. Holds all beings and all things. Breathe into it, energize, inspire, breathe out, relax into being. Settle in, settle back. Let awareness shine. And may this practice be a benefit to all beings everywhere without exception, omitting none. Beginning here and now. And now. And so inclining the mind towards awareness of this body sitting here. And then finding the sense of the rhythm of the natural breath. And then breathing in deeply. Holding for a second and then a big out. Resting at the bottom. Big in breath. Holding. Big out. Getting better at that. Let's do it one more time. Big in. Hold, releasing, letting go of everything. Big out. Settling simply into the awareness of the open space. Emptying, letting go, releasing, softening, surrendering, letting be. Each out breath. Bless you. Each out breath, we let go of all obstacles, hindrances, belief thoughts, worries, tensions, tightness, all the ideas about the self, all the ideas about the other. Each out breath, we empty. This is the first in the process of beginner's mind. Emptying ourselves of all those preconceived ideas about who we think we are. No ideas about the breath. No need to manage, fabricate, or do the breath. The breath is breathing itself. No breather here. Suzuki Roshi, who wrote the book Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, says the breath is like a door, opening and closing. It does itself. It is the nature of the door. Opening and closing itself. And if that feels too contrived or forced, see if you can imagine the sense of the ocean wave rolling. Each wave, and it's becoming, it's being, it's ending and receding. Just see if you can make contact with the wave of the breath coming and going. No me, no my, I, no mine. Awareness. And often as we look out over the horizon of all time in all directions, what we see first are the objects. This is no problem at all. We see the mountain often before we see the space in which it sits. This is no problem. And so just noticing as you rest in awareness, this open, vast space, notice all the objects coming and going. Begin with the breath. See if you can arrive to this present moment without a notion of how it will be. This means we give up all handles, all safety devices. We give up to believe thoughts in the positives or the negative. Can we truly arrive this present moment with dono mind? Each moment fresh, new, an irrepeatable miracle unimaginable. To truly greet the moment we arrive with an open mind, untethered, unbounded by ideas of good or bad, right and wrong, me or you, this or that. No inner or outer, no left or right. And with each out breath, we empty ourselves of the thoughts about everything. As we rest in awareness, no object defines us. There is no right or wrong, good or bad. No one object, no one experience, no thought, no feeling, no sensation that defines. Then as we release the out breath, we're going to begin to see if we can open completely to the beginning of the in breath. We release on the out breath so that on the in breath, we can begin fresh, green, new, open. Curious, receptive, empty. We arrive to the present moment with no one being no body, no self. And as we pick an object and make it something about the self, you might notice that along with the object comes a tension, a gripping, a clinging, a tightness. We have moved from the boundless to the bound. And in that knowing, we can once again release. There is no object that is a problem. There is no resistance to an object because it is not you. Do not mistake it. Resting in open space, letting sensations and thoughts, images, feelings, all ideas simply come and be and pass. Once again, leaving the open space. As we release and relax into the groundlessness of awareness, we can then begin to smile, that inner smile at all the objects coming and going that we have mistaken for ourselves. the ever-flowing river of appearances and disappearances. Enjoy the show. We grab nothing, claim nothing, reject nothing. Let it flow. New with each in-breath, new with each out-breath. Everything new. Resting in the groundless ground of being. Fresh, new, open. Not only are the objects new, but the mind that perceives them is new. The self-sensing is new. These eyes, these ears, this nose, this mouth, this body, and this mind new. Each breath. Can we wake up? With each breath, may we awaken this heart mind. Opening, greeting. Each moment anew. In our emptiness, we can hold all things. Room and space, boundless. Letting all the world fit in. If you haven't, if you don't know about Frank Ostaseski, he's a lovely teacher from the Zen tradition and was one of the founders of the San Francisco Zen Center's hospice program. He no longer does that, but he has written a very successful book, The Five Invitations, discovering what death can teach us about living fully. It was one of my considerations for our fall course. I'm not going to elect it, but I just do want you to know that it's very enjoyable. Frank is a lovely teacher. If you ever have an opportunity to be with him for a talk or a practice. And he writes a whole back section on Dono mind. Dono mind. He took that dono mind from Sansanim, who was John Kabat-Zinn's teacher, by the way. And I guess the joke was that no matter what you asked Sansanim, his answer was, don't know. Don't know. And it's what a beautiful beginning, right? What a beautiful beginning. So that we can truly, in the resting in the don't know mind, in the beginner's mind, so that we can see, feel, sense, know what is here without all those scripts, all those ideas, all those believed thoughts, all those fears about what is true. And it's a real practice because just recognizing what we bring to the present moment is very useful. The ideas about right and wrong, good and bad, what should and shouldn't be, how you should be, how it should be. It's just good to know that we're beginning often with an already loaded gun, said Joko. An already loaded gun who will shoot only one. And so I thought I'd just review a little bit about what I am discovering over and over myself about beginner's mind. And I thought I'd read one of the most famous quotes from Suzuki Roshi on the topic. And you will have heard this, I am imagining. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. Right? Has most of you heard that? At least a few of you will have heard that. Another quote that I really like, a mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work if it is not open. I like that idea also. So then one of the questions I think was useful to ask is, how do we cultivate beginner's mind? How do we cultivate a don't know mind? How do we begin to cultivate arriving to the present moment without all of the fixtures, all of this is where I use the word earrings, all of the ideas about how life should be this moment. Expectations are one of the things we bring, don't we? It should go like this. Fears, maybe it'll go like that, right? What else do we bring? Expectations and fears are just a couple. Can you name any more? The habits for what we bring to the present moment. Desires. For sure.
Stories from the past.
Storylines. Hopes, a little bit attached to desires, isn't it? This is one of the dangers of hope, is that we can actually, like it's gotta be this, which turns quickly into what? A demand, doesn't it? A demand of us, a demand of, what else do we tend to bring into the present moment?
Knowledge.
Yes. I know this, right? And knowledge really being defined in the Zen tradition very strongly as the dangerous thing, different than wisdom. What might be its distinction? Knowledge, very dangerous, different than wisdom.
Because you want to act on knowledge?
Yes, you often believe there's a rightness in it, right? Because I know this makes it.
Wisdom is instinctual. It's just part of who you are.
Yeah. Knowledge is a believed thought or a believed fact, right? About you think you know it. This is one of the dangers with this. And so often we begin with all of that, and by itself none of it is the problem. So we don't try to get rid of, we try to recognize first what? What do we do with those things?
See them.
Yeah, it would be really useful just to know that they're at play, that they're appearing, that there's some ideas that, right, rather than try not to have an idea, which can get you in as much trouble, honestly, as having one, because now you've decided that the idea is the problem, rather just recognizing My husband and I just went to meet my son's parents for the first time. They asked for a meeting. Uh-oh.
Wait, your son's parents.
My son's girlfriend.
Oh.
Parents. They asked for a meeting. And my husband and I were like immediately, yeah, like, that's interesting after 8 years. That might have, and we had to be careful, right? We had Ida review a lot. Like, I don't know. I said that a lot to my son. I don't know what the intention really is. I only know that it's interesting and, right? And actually we showed up with that openness, with some curiosity, I will tell you, honestly, about what is this? And it became fairly clear fairly quickly. They just wanted to get to know us. They see us as maybe a part of the future architecture. They may, like, these people may be around. It might be good to,
After 8 years. maybe
After
this
8
can
years,
last.
there's some chance that they could be, right? And even if not, we've already, we care about some of the very same things, don't we? We have some of the shared intention for these two beings, happiness and well-being. And why not then collaborate on that goodness, right? It was very clear that was their intention. And so it really became quite a lovely evening, just beings, knowing each other and sharing a love, and then acknowledging that love, which was also easy to do, right? And it was important to me, as an example, to be able to say to them, I love your daughter also. That was my intention. Whatever else was true, whether we had similar interests or we didn't, or whether I liked them or I didn't, or we had the same politics or we didn't, wasn't really, for me, important. But there was an intention, and it was that they know that their daughter is loved by, that they are not only the ones who wish for her ease, well-being, and are going to contribute to her safety, contribute to her well-being, that is important to me. And I actually felt compelled, by the way, to tell her the day before, I want you to know something. I don't want to assume that you know that I want this for you enough, that I will help you do what you need to do, even if it is not in my son's interest. And he was on the phone, by the way, going, and his joke was, oh, nice. What am I? And he could joke, couldn't he? Because he also knew, and I will care for you in this same way, right? I will care for you in the same way. I want your happiness, your ease, and your well-being. Right? And so this is what the benefits, I think, are of beginner's mind. Can we think of other words? Let's just do that, play that game for a minute. What other words, when you think of beginner's mind or don't know mind, what other words come to mind for you? We're going to talk about that some more.
Available.
Available.
Infinite potential.
Infinite.
Space.
Open. Right, you can get a feel for it, count again. Really doesn't have real limit, does it? It has that boundlessness, that emptiness, that openness, receptivity, curiosity, wonder, surprise, fresh, new. Those are just some of the words that, right, to give us some idea about attitudes that we can bring. Ignorance is often defined mistakenly as don't know mind. Ignorance is mistaken as don't know mind. How is this? It's not true. It is the wisdom that allows for the don't know mind, the empty mind, the open mind, the fresh. But we mistake in our culture, don't we often, ignorance as don't know mind. And so what do we do out of that fear?
Know a lot of things.
Well, no, you think you
You think you know,
know.
right? And what does Suzuki say? The expert, right? The expert is the fool. Only the fool is the Zen koan. Only the fool thinks they know.
But knowing or knowledge is an opportunity to test it. I mean, if you're just I mean, you know, testing and you're just kind of bouncing around and, you know, it'd be okay.
Mhm.
But things that you know, kind of have an idea, that's an opportunity to go check it out. I mean, and isn't that what the Buddha said? Don't believe what I said.
That's right.
You know, you think I know everything. It's not what I said. Go test it out.
That's right. That's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
There it is. Direct experience. Don't buy the book and just chew on that. Your discovery, your inquiry, your, right, what direct experience, how it informs you is the wisdom.
But it's way more like the knowing there is like, I think I know this. Now I'm going to go out and see if that's true.
That's a very different kind. That's very different than this this idea of knowledge is as a already established truth. That's the tendency of knowledge. It already is this way, right? That's knowledge versus wisdom. Let's see is the wisdom. Let's inquire. Let's investigate. How is this true for me? I don't put my hands in fire, folks. Wisdom. Now, does it mean I wouldn't? No,
Well, take a Tony Robbins course and you'll walk right across hot coals.
exactly. Maybe or not.
Or if you started a Moses and burning house and you think you can get in
That's
there
exactly
now,
right.
You might do it.
That's right. Right. So the knowledge is that fire is hot. That may consistently turn out to be direct experience and true. Does it mean I will never? No, that is not true. It is not true that I will never or always. Is it? That's not true. That's not knowledge. That is now rigid, fixed. Let's think of the opposite of beginner's mind for a moment. Let's find words for that. I just gave you two. What's some more? Stale. Deadened. Irritated. Jangled.
Stuff.
Set,
Stuck.
set.
Set. Fixed. Solid. Other words, tight. Grasping, clinging, holding. You can feel it. Can't you feel it?
Could hopeful be?
Hopeful can be. It can be, can't it? Because we can cling to hope. But so now what are we sensing? It isn't exactly the object that's our problem. So Mike was saying it. There is no knowledge by itself. That's our problem. We just have to recognize what it is. And then what? See if we can't bring certain attitudes, certain processes of inquiry, cultivation, presence, really investigating and experiencing directly. And we know when we're on the path to suffering because it has that no, rejected, already, right? We can feel its contracted nature.
When you're doing the inquiry in it and you're testing it out, that just leads you to, don't know.
That's right.
It looks kind of interesting over here, and I'll just continue to, take a look.
Yes.
But it's never, again, it never becomes this solid thing, the knowledge.
Ever changing, as experience is.
Causes and conditions.
So what do we do with the breath? Where do we struggle? What happens when we say just rest in experience? Maybe the object of the breath or the open space itself in which all things are coming and going. What happens? Did you notice what happened for you where you got into the grip, the contraction? Because this is useful inquiry. Could anybody see
I
what?
couldn't breathe in enough. Never had that before. We couldn't get enough air.
Not enough space.
Easy to let it go.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't receive.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Really useful to know. Really useful. Is it good or bad? This knowing is the beginning of wisdom. Knowing, so challenging for us sometimes to greet the present moment in that openness, right? And sometimes we do focus. Consequently, I'll do a little technique moment. Sometimes in that moment, it is first important to just rest in the out breath. To just rest in the out breath first, which is why often the Tibetans begin there. Resting in the out breath before we can open, really. We just keep resting into the out breath and then check back, see if I can't greet the moment.
And then there's the breathless state.
That's right. There is the space beyond the breath, beyond the in and the out, beyond the this and the that. No in or out, no left or right, just the space. We don't even have to get caught in the dualities, do we? There's this or that happening. And often it is some kind of opening that allows our release there. Just to keep investigating. But good to know some kind of contractedness starting here, some kind of idea at work here. And so let's talk about Seth's word emptiness or empty. It's one we fear, right? Don't we? We have a lot of fear. It's interesting, of course, because it's where the greatest, open, spacious freedom arises. What happens with that idea of empty? What do we do with that notion?
Well, it's like, I mean, this is kind of a cultural thing, you know. Like, you're not ever supposed to be empty. Like, if someone asks you, what are you thinking? You're supposed to have been thinking something.
And doing something right after it.
And if you say nothing, people are like, what is wrong with you?
Mhm. Isn't it often true? And often we're doing it, right? I should be doing something. I should be thinking something. I should be something. And how we limit the truth of the reality, the possibility, Mike said. How we limit the possibility in those thoughts. Isn't it true? Should be something happening here. We're afraid of emptiness because it looks like nothing, no thing, no one, nothing to grab, no handle to hold, no self ground on which to rest, right? The open space can feel too big, no, where do I hold on?
Well, when you're a blank slate, you have to absorb it.
Yes.
If you're a blank slate.
Yes. Yeah. We can allow the appearance of everything without difficulty and the disappearance, except when it comes to the self. And when it comes to ideas about the self, who I am, how I am, what I deserve, what should be happening, what's in the becoming, what's right, and the ego's favorite definition of self, you are supposed to reflect me, right? That's ego. You are supposed to see the goodness in me and then reflect it, right? This is maybe for me one of the things that we look for as a handle instead of this resting in open space, right? We like to know. This is a part of the knower. We want to know, who am I? We ask the question a lot. Who am I?
Why do we have mirrors?
That's right. Lots of them. You can't even do yoga without them. They're everywhere. Right? So that we know that it is this self-making, this self-becoming element that does not tolerate the possibility of open space, the reality of open space. I've got to get a handle. And it's good to know where you have a particular grab. So it might be an identity called a profession or a role. What else might be something you're grabbing? Could be a politic, a religion, a where you come from, your age or stage. We could grab that. What else do we grab? Ideas of right and wrong, one of our
You're supposed to have beliefs and values
values,
and age. What age are you?
right?
Lens for the kids. An example is what we want for all kids.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really, really hard. It's if we don't know something
Yes.
about it.
Yes. Then how do you act? How do you contribute? How do you benefit when everything is because it, why? Well, how does this work?
Because we think it's permanent. It's, as long as you understand that whatever value, thoughts, cultures
Right.
are impermanent.
Right.
They're fine. It's when we think this is solid and this is not going to change. And that's where we get stuck.
It's not the value, it's the idea about it. So I do family therapy, right? Do you know how many times in 38 years I've heard, because they're not respecting me? That's why. Because I deserve respect. Respect, very big word. Very big word. And so, because they're not respecting me, whoever that is, I get to whatever, right? A word like respect, now we're holding that up, and we have a lot of ideas about how that should play. Means when I talk, you shut up, and when I say this, you agree, or just do it, right? There's a lot of ideas about respect, right? That, and you can feel it, can't you? Wow, this is painful. It's painful to be in the room where someone takes an idea or a value and says, this is it, and this is how it's going to look, and everybody's going to play with that. And we do it, don't we all? We all, this is the right thing. This is the good thing. This is the way. This is the right. And just that we recognize with some kind of openness those habits. Those habits, there's no problem with values, is there? It only begins to contract when we go, this is how it's got to go.
Well, that's the whole thing about respect. You're not respecting me, but that's because I'm assuming that I should be getting something different from you than what I perceive.
That's
I'm
right.
getting from you.
That's right. That's it.
Not real.
The ideas. And so, again, in the Zen tradition, the ideas about my mother are not my mother. The ideas about the self are not the self.
Then what are they?
They're just ideas,
Rising and passing.
coming and going. And what's the opportunity? See how, what's, right? The ideas about the other are not the other. And can we stay empty, open, fresh, curious, interested, and make contact? Can we, because this is the way to make contact. You have to arrive fully there to see what's true, that moment. And what else do you know? I know, okay, that in its appearance like this, right? In its appearance like this. So I brought a perception. I'll use the meeting Jenny's parents again. I brought a perception. I've met Jenny's mom several times. I can say this on the video. And she has never actually said a word to me in the 8 years with those contacts. By the way, I don't see that as good or bad. There were a lot of people, there was a lot of circumstances, but I formed a slight impression based on that, which is Jenny's mom is shy. Right? This is what I saw. Jenny's mom is shy or might be shy. I did something like that. And so I get there and she had just bought a new Tesla 3 and I knew about it. And so I asked her about it. Well, guess what? Jenny's mom is not shy when there's something she enjoys or loves or, right? Not in that moment. But I don't want to go there necessarily either, do I? I wouldn't want to now go, oh, Jenny's mom is not shy. Would be just as much an error, wouldn't it? What I can say is, Well, when the topic was something she cared about, was interested in, had some joy or passion or excitement for, there was language for her with that, as well as a kind of a connection. I could say that's true. I will not now say, because I saw the error, I will not now say Jenny's mother is shy or not shy. This is wisdom. This is also, can you feel it? Empty. What's it empty of? The preconception, the believed thought, the this or thatness. It is now, I don't know. It's a little interesting to me. I can't wait to see them again on July 2nd for the fireworks, because this is interesting.
Fireworks. Yeah.
How will it be? Yeah. How will it be? Like fireworks. Just, can I be here? Open to this. So we can see where it's useful, isn't it? To see, even in the practice, where we start to grip, and I love to use the body for this. That's like now there's an I thinking something. There's a me, tight or loose. There's a belief thought of this or that. And again, not the problem. In its recognition, we can be skillful. Can't we? We can be skillful. I love that possibility. What else about this?
So what about all this? You're supposed to know yourself. And, like there are times in your life that you literally are supposed to be able to say, this is who I am, this is what I'm like, as if that is a solid thing, like a job interview, for instance, right? I mean, like literally, that is the expectation.
Yes.
That you have some speech about
Yes.
who you are.
Yes. Measurable. Not by the way.
But even
Yeah.
like a first date, or like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like this whole business about it. You're supposed to know yourself.
Yes. And how do we then best do that?
Create a really good story.
We often do that. Really good story. What's the way to do that? What could you know? What could you know?
Your right hand.
This. Excited to be here. Not sure how it's going to go. Right?
Mhm.
Open, receptive, curious, interested, in wonder, in awe. We could do that and speak from that. Then in a job interview, my son just got a job, and I happen to know that there was a lot of define you by your accomplishment, and define you functional resumes now, right? They don't even want to know who you are. They just want to know how much money you generated for that last job. What was the impact? These functional resumes. You say how much money you saved them or made them based on actions you took. Right, this was my son's mission, that he was given instructions around this. And of course he was like, oh my God, I'm 26. I've worked for a whole year. I don't know. I was just learning stuff. I don't know if I saved him any money. I said, you could say that. Couldn't you? You could actually say, really the first year of my working as an accountant was really just developing understanding of the system, was really getting efficient at it. What he actually discovered as he talked to his boss in that way was the boss said, well, interesting, Tanner, you did learn that system faster than the other people that we'd had. You could say that because it's true. And I could verify that. By virtue of your being faster, the truth is you did save us money.
Yeah.
Right? It was, in fact, you learned it a month faster, 4 weeks faster than other people. We had a 3-month project. You actually got it done in 2. That's a third savings, you could say. Right? He helped him really walk through that. And so, really understanding, but there is benefit. Right? Even when I can't say that $300K was made at this, he's not a sales guy, that's not his job. Right? The boss just helped him say, wait a minute, there was real benefit. And really, that's all that was important, right? Is that he knew too. There was real benefit. Whether you can actually put a finger on a number or a, right, or you can't, can you remember this? Can you remember this? And then in a job, can you speak to that? I cared about it. I cared about it. I think is really all he ended up
The
saying.
interviews are like 80% nonverbal impressions
Yep,
that make
very much so.
take you or reject you. So
Even though it looks like a lot of this.
you might say that you don't know how much you save, but you need to project that I'm the person who's gonna come and you can trust me.
Yes. And by the way, I don't think Tanner brought 1 ounce of I'm the person you can anything. I think he went, I'm curious, I'm open, I'm going to work hard. I think that came through. I have to say, I believe absolutely did. I don't even want to say he's confident. I don't think there's much of that yet. And it's okay too. But he is open. He did bring beginner's mind. He said, I do care. I do want to do well. I want to do well for you and for, he projected that. He doesn't have words for that. It was really beyond it, wasn't it? You can feel that in people, can't you? And you know what's interesting about it? It's also empty. It's empty. Empty of what? This idea about, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to raise $1 million. We often believe that we like that, but we don't trust it totally either, do we? You sort of go, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. But be careful. Be careful.
Well, it's interesting too, because I think that also, that process of, what they're looking for is
Yes.
someone who's going to do X, Y, Z for them. And what you're looking for is a place to learn and grow.
Yes.
That's not a good fit.
Yes. It can not
That's
necessarily be a good thing. And you can know that too.
Yeah.
If you're present with beginner's mind, what could you know? I can see this situation. I can size up what your interest is and mine is and see where there's alignment and where the right also, because maybe that's not the job then. It might not be right for you. Not every job is the right one. Not every experience, right? We say, not this one. I'm not, right? I knew it was the right job. He's going to get to be permanent in this job now, which is exciting. Why? Because exactly what they thought was there, it turns out to be true. He is open. He is curious. He is interested. He is going to work hard. It's true. Right? And so be careful what you think you need to know. Watch it. As Suzuki says, in the expert's mind, there's little room for growth. There's little room for true knowing, right? You are already consumed, filled up. It's described, has anyone heard this metaphor? I'm sure if you had a teacup running over, no room for the tea.
And even if you can, it puts you in this position where you can only do what you've done before. And since every moment is new and every situation is new and every day is new,
That's right.
chances that you're going to run into something that you haven't done before are pretty high.
Yes. In fact, you might say 100% guaranteed,
Yeah.
mightn't you? 100% guaranteed. And yet, what do we like? We like the idea. It's true. We like the notion. We like the. Be careful what you believe. Memory, it says, is not objective. It does not hold an absolute truth. It is frequently not accurate, and it is certainly not permanent. Even memory changes, doesn't it? Yes. Really, almost continuously. So even this idea that I know this, or I remember this, or we have to be watchful of the way we solidify and fixate and identify, don't we? This is the truth. Anybody see how much trouble that causes?
This is why family holidays are so great. Because you're like, wow.
What
we were all
everybody
there.
knows, what they know about you, what they know about life, what they know about the president, what they know about what they know, right? And you can feel it, can't you? It's separating there is no room for connection there. Anybody feel this pretty regularly? And we do it often to ourselves. This is the thing I want us to know. I have, erred infinitely in this regard by going, well, but I do this with my husband daily, literally, poor man. No, I know that. I know this. This is what I know. Right? No. Have to climb out over and over and over. Because what? Only conflict, only separation, only disconnect from there. I love to spout neuroscience to my husband because I'm almost always trying to make a point about how he should change something or do it better. I'm dangerous, right? Because I have resources, I can give footnotes. Terrible. And I'm like, no, but this is true. This is what the neuroscience, it's right. Noticing. And then what? This moment, coming home, opening, letting go, being here. And at least in our compassion practice, what are we learning? At least be home and present to yourself so that you can know something about what that is. What's that grip? What's that need to verify, validate the reality? And if we're home, if we're truly present, then actually what I notice is there's no need. It's not required now. We get to truly rest in the continuous becoming and falling away of all that selfing. And it's fine. It's right. Gotta get it right. Gotta get the job. Gotta be a certain way. So let's be watchful. You've heard the words that I think contribute to the attitude. I will share with you. I took a few notes, and it will only take a moment. In Roshi's book, there were a few ideas, and I thought I'd share them. Take one breath, one step at a time. Be in the present moment. Use don't know mind every moment. Watch for prejudgments, expectations, demands, and shoulds. Live as if you don't know, so that you can see what is present this moment. Make use of your direct experience, but do not cling to it. It is a small sample of the possibility of reality. Don't negate experience, but be careful what you cling to. Let go of the idea of needing to be an expert, permanent, solid, fixed. Experience the moment as fully as you can. Disregard your ideas about common sense. I thought that one was interesting. Even let go of this idea of common sense. We often don't inquire into conventional wisdoms. We tend to just buy in. That's just the way it is. It's just like this. That's what I did with the right. It's just that's true. In a way that will often cause damage or harm or at least separation. Recognize the fear of failure, the fear of not being. Invite the spirit of inquiry into all things. Ask the questions without the answer. Isn't that lovely? Ask the questions without the answer. Beginner's mind. So let's sit for a moment together. See if we can remember cultivating that. And remember, there's nothing special. We have to watch this idea that this is a special state, a special way of being. This is your natural way of being. It is when we get fearful, when we believe that we are not sufficient, when we fall into that trance of insufficiency and unworthiness, we can just arrive again this moment with this out breath first. Seeing if we can untether ourselves. The mountain does not block the view. It is an arising and a passing in vast open space. Can we breathe out into that open space? And then rest. Letting the full exchange, no in, no out. Just letting it happen. Empty of preconceived notions of self or other. We rest in the boundless open space of our own awakened heart mind and the awakened heart mind of others. Can we see the Buddha in all beings? Remembering the truth of this vast open space. May we dedicate the merits, the blessings, and the benefits of this practice and all practice throughout all time, coming from all directions and all peoples. May we offer this to the end of suffering and the realization of true happiness and freedom. May we do so for ourselves, for our loved ones, for those in need, those who are hungry and lonely, those who are fearful. May we remember we are each a part of the whole and rest in the great arms of belonging. May we all be happy, having the causes and conditions for true happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all have great joy at our good fortune and the good fortune of others. May we rest in equanimity, free from greed, hatred, delusion, the delusion of a fixed, solid, separate self, and be free. May we all be free. May this practice today contribute so be it. Taking pauses throughout the day, seeing if we can empty ourselves of our ideas about self and other. Empty the idea so that you can truly arrive and see what's present. So thank you all so much for your practice and being here today. empty, I think I heard someone say, a lot of open space. A lot of open space. Let's see if we can't breathe it in and out and be well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. These notes will be up with the poem. We are still posting. So they'll be there for you. And
Are they there forever or is it?
they're there forever for now.
Until
wanna
one of
know.
their sons decides to clean up the website.
Aren't they there forever? Forever, right now. They're there. That's what I can say.
Buddy, I need a buddy.
Okay. Okay, I will make sure that we get you one. That will be easy to do, Dennis. Be well today. Everyone be well.
Nice color on the toast.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, lovely to see you. Oh, that's okay. The mountain is not the problem, so don't mistake it. You're just gonna keep coming back into open space the minute you see the mountain, you can find the open space. So the minute you see a thought, you're already there, right? Thought and an open space in which it's coming. So don't believe that the thought is the problem. Actually, that's the beginning of a problem. So just watch it and keep coming and then keep practicing. This is on everydaymind.com. This will be here as well as a bunch of other.
Okay, good. I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, the video it will be up there as well as many others. So
Every day.
everydaymind.com. I think there's a card possibly there.
Okay.
Grab
You
it.
get your newsletter, so I should-
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to find it.
Okay.
But go to that website because this will be there as well as others.
Okay.
And all the supports that you need are going to be there.
Good.
And
Thank you so
here.
much.
And here.
All right.
All right, good to see you, Sean.
I have to stay with you.
Okay.